You are not going to be sad and depressed for your entire life, and it needs to be said. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. What happens when you actually become successful? What happens when you finally overcome all of the trials and tribulations, all the generational cycles and curses? With that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates. So if the energy is not in alignment with you, you just cannot receive it. You can't force it. You're either for it or you're not. And if you're not, that's okay. But just be respectful and be mindful, as well as grabbing your pens, grabbing your paper, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss 5 honest truths, 5 recommendations, and 5 disclaimers that you need to be aware of, because you cannot be sad and depressed every single day when you took the time to heal yourself, when you're taking the time to fast, when you're taking the time to pray, when you're taking the time to meditate, when you've taken the time to separate the peoples, the places, the ideologies, the mindsets, the behaviors. You changed your ways. You've worked on yourself. You're not going to stay still once you realize why you had to take a moment to yourself. And that's the first disclaimer. You have to realize that everything that you went through in your life up until now, as you're watching this video and moving forward, is very much so with purpose and intention. A lot of times the reason why we're not able to understand the intention and purpose is because maybe we're not taught and shown. You have to realize, which is going to be a part of the second thing, that it is okay to have had a past. It is okay to have start from somewhere. It is okay if it was maybe rough, it wasn't the best. Why? Because it is just a reminder, a start, and just confirmation that even though you have come from a certain point of your life or you've been through certain things, it does not define you. You don't have to stay there. But most importantly, why you had to be there. And that goes back to the first disclaimer. Once you realize why you had to grow up in the trenches, why you had to be touched on inappropriately, why you were being abused, why you went through all these things, you could realize, what was I able to learn about myself, the people, places, and things? What can I do moving forward to apply that you want to continue to condone, you want to continue to engage in, and what you need to avoid? We as people, including myself, it took me some time and experience to realize I don't need to make things bigger than what it needs to be. This doesn't mean that our feelings are not valid. This doesn't mean that it is acceptable for people to hurt you or to harm you or to abuse you or to beat you or to rape you or for the killing, the corruption, and confusion. But in order to change the world as a collective, which I know a lot of you all want to do, we have to start with ourselves individually. And it's not until the third disclaimer is realizing that if we're able to allow ourselves to feel the emotions and to sit with ourselves and to be angry and to be sad by validating, expressing ourselves, whether that's journaling, communication, therapists, friends and family, gods, whatever it is, when we're able to feel what we feel instead of denying it, instead of feeling embarrassed, instead of being ashamed, we can just allow ourselves to feel what we felt. It doesn't have to continue to linger. The reason why a lot of people linger with their emotions and their traumas is because people are not communicating. People are not speaking up. People are afraid. You cannot be afraid. And that's the third or fourth thing. Let me know because I lost count already. You cannot be afraid to have gone through your past. You can't be so afraid of your past that it scares you from your future. And I'm speaking from experience. I realized what has helped me along my healing journey was to realize 99% of the time that I went through trials and tribulations, quote unquote, was because I was observing. Not because I was like, oh yeah, let me just get myself intentionally or willingly or just causing problems. No, I had to experience problems and chaos and confusion and corruption through other people to learn like, okay, I'm not judging these people, but I don't want to be like them, or I'm not in alignment with them, or maybe what they do is not for me to figure out who I am. Every person in our life that we meet, good or bad, is there to teach us certain things. And it's like, if you can realize why, this goes back to the first disclaimer, realize why you even had to experience abuse, trauma, and just ask yourself, like, why did I have to go through this? And take the time, which is the fifth thing, to do, you'll be able to move forward. And that's when you start to get into the success. And that's what we're going to be focusing on for the beginning of 2026, or whenever you're watching this. This is the second video that I've posted long form. If you're new here, I have over 900 videos in total. I have shorts, giving you guys just quick motivational, educational reminders, and long-term videos. I'm asking you guys these questions. So if you guys have questions about healing, positivity, abundance, loving yourself, and knowing yourself internally, inside out, let me know. And follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information is in the description. But now, it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot that we need to address. These are just 5 things that you just, like I said, need to be aware of. Those were the disclaimers. Now, when it comes to the recommendations, what you need to do, right? Because you're going to get to the finish line. So rather you're getting to the finish line, you can see the finish line, or you cross the finish line. The first recommendation is that you are going to have to prepare yourself to be vulnerable. Because that's the truth. When you go through a significant amount of abuse, whether it's the first time, like I said, depending on where you are in your journey, like you went no contact or you physically had to remove yourself, automatically, if you haven't watched all the other 900 videos, we go over what to expect when healing yourself, how to heal yourself and your emotions and stuff like that. But once you get to that point where you know, like, you've let it go 100%, because you can't rush people to let things go. You do have to let things go on your time and when you're ready. But when you're ready to let it go, you have to realize now you're vulnerable, because it's like everything that you once knew in your past, the ideologies, beliefs, mindsets, whatever you thought about yourself, world, belief, religion, is no longer what it was. So you have to, number one, be prepared to be vulnerable, and be prepared to be vulnerable in every area of your life, because now you're doing things differently. You're not who you once were. You are changing. So now, because you used to think, let's just say negatively, you were abused in your past, but in your future, you're not abused. You speak up for yourself and you're more confident. You have to be vulnerable and be aware of that. You have to start being intentional about having conversations. And this just happened to me not too long ago. Like, I've realized where I'm at right now in my life. I've always tried my best to be very intentional about my time and speaking with people, but I realized, like, where I'm at, like, just in life, as you, like I said, cross the finish line, once you've been exposed to like low vibrational or manipulative or narcissistic people, whatever it is, you have to start paying attention to the pattern recognition. So like, the first recommendation, like I said, is just being vulnerable and just being intentional. So I'll just put those 2 things together. I don't want to make it separate, but being vulnerable and being intentional. Like, when you are no longer dealing with toxic people, you can no longer surround yourself with people. Like, once you start seeing little red flags in certain people, you have to start clocking them immediately. You have to learn that you're going to be vulnerable. So with you being vulnerable, the second thing I recommend when you are finally overcoming your trials and tribulations, you finally have healed, you finally have gone no contact, you finally went to therapy, you finally, whatever it was, found God, whatever it was, is allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to not do the most. Your body will warn you. My body has been warning me. I don't need to be doing all this stuff. You'll know when it's time for you to do certain things, and you'll know when you're not needing to do certain things. But it's like, you have to pay attention to your body. You have to pay attention to your emotions. Like, you need to be able to have time to rest. You need to be able to allow yourself grace, because once again, if you went from being abused, went from poverty, being made fun of, to now you're wealthy, you're confident, and you're likable, that's a whole different reality check. That's a whole different lifestyle you haven't been accustomed to or used to. And that's the third thing. Like, you're going to get used to it. Like, a lot of people confuse being at peace and having a peace of mind with being boring. It's nothing boring about not being insecure. It's nothing boring about being safe. It's nothing boring about being around men and women, regardless of their race, their gender, or age, making you feel bad about themselves. Like, I realized as I continue to grow older as a 29-year-old woman, the conversations that I have with adults that I'm obviously choosing to have, it needs to be at a certain level. And if it's not at that level, I'm not having a conversation. And that's the fourth thing. You have to have new standards now. Once you have gone through all your trials and tribulations, you suffered for this long. You mean to tell me you don't have certain standards? Raise your prices. If people have a problem because now all of a sudden you had to go through things that most people don't even know nothing about, and they want to feel like, oh, well, you're acting brand new, she's acting brand new, she's acting Hollywood, she's bougie, and am, and are, now what? Because here's the thing, when you were suffering, when you were struggling, when you were going through trials and tribulations, if people treated you like shit, excuse my French, when you were going through it, why the F do you think they're going to come around you with that energy? You work too hard on yourself internally, because that's what we do. We do internal work over here. We don't fake it till we make it. We don't try to act like, oh, let's be delusional. No. No, we don't do that here. You don't have to pretend to be something you're not if you exude that energy, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. Where is your heart posture? Where's your mind at? That's what we do over here. Love. Okay? And it doesn't have a limit or a filter. So you have to realize that, yes, you are going to get to a point where it's not going to be raining every single day. The sun is eventually going to shine. But it's like when you have been so conditioned to losing, that's like if you grew up in poverty and then all of a sudden you get a job, you get a degree, or even if you don't have a degree, you get a good paying job and you start making money. You have to realize that the scarcity mindset that you once had about money is going to change. And of course, in the beginning, like I said, you're vulnerable. So it could seem scary. It could seem like, oh my God, I'm so used to having to, but you be tight about money that when I finally get money now, I'm scared. You'll over time, and that's the third recommendation, practice. You have to constantly get used to adapting to your new life, this new energy. Same thing if you grew up and let's just say you were a people pleaser. If you were always seeking validation, you always needed to be liked, you always need to be included, and now this new version of you, the version of you who accomplished their goals, who faced their fear, isn't a people pleaser. It's okay if you let people know that you're not interested in conversations or interested in going out. It doesn't make you less of a person. It just means that if people are not willing to respect who you had to become, they don't deserve access to you. And you have to realize that a lot of people and places and things you are going to outgrow. Be okay with outgrowing them. Just because you outgrow people in your life doesn't mean that you're less of a person or they're less of a person. And that's a different topic within itself. Like, the best thing that I've realized about turning 29, you guys, and I've only been 29 for a minute now, like, but the best thing I could say at 29 years old is that I know who I am. I've always known who I was and am and are and being, but it's just like, from experience, it just feels really good knowing that when you go through certain things and you're constantly working on yourself, not only do you not need the validation, but you just have this sense of like confidence. You feel me? So it's just like you want to get to a point where you're so confident in yourself and what it is that you want to do in this life that it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what people are saying. Like, you're also going to get to a point when you get to this confidence, when you've done the work, you've healed, you overcome all the trauma and all the trials and tribulations. You just realize, like, there are certain people and places and things you don't even want to encounter. And you don't have to, because now, like I said, you're starting to be vulnerable. You're starting to realize, okay, in my past, certain people treated me like this. In my past, certain people did this. In my past, certain people did this and this and that. If you're going to look at your past, use it as a reference on what not to do or what to do. The only time I'm bringing up my past is to reflect. It's to say, okay, this is how I responded to this. This is how I reacted to this. I don't want to do this. And continue to work on that. And that's the last and final recommendation. Once you overcross that finish line, once you become the best version of yourself, once you get that car, those goals, you start the degree, you start the business, you get the family, whatever you worked and prayed for, whatever peace of mind, whatever it is, continue to only focus on those things. Don't continue to focus yourself around people, places, and things who are not there at this big age. So if you're 30 and older, you know better. And we're going to send you love, but that's it. That's all. If you're younger than 30, you have time to figure it out. You're constantly going to be growing. But it's like, once you mature and identify as an adult, carry yourself like an adult. I'm telling you, other adults, it doesn't matter if they're black, white, Asian, gay, hey, they, she, we, LGQ, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter. They're not going to be doing all that extra stuff. All these people who are, like I said, from people in your past, you can pick up on it. And another thing too, lastly, because it's a great feeling when you overcome trials and tribulations. When you know that you've been a good person, and this is why I tell you guys all the time, being a good person is just the best feeling in the world. When you know you were never a bad person or how people wanted you to paint you out to be, I'm telling you, you just care less and less. Like, I've never cared about my image when it came to other people who didn't know me, because like I said, you don't know me. But it's like now you just, like I said, you start to look at people, and it's not from a place of like, oh, I'm better than this person, but it's just like, I'm not in alignment with your character. I'm not in alignment with your energy. I don't, do the things you do. And that's okay. Because some people you're going to be, like I said, compatible with. Some people you're not. Once you figure out what's compatible with you, focus on that. Don't worry about everything else. And like I said, the more you focus on what's compatible with you, you'll start to realize what's not. And we can talk about that in a separate video. But moral of the video, you've done what you needed to do. And if you're new here, you have 900 videos to catch up to. You have a lot to be watching. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey. You're not going to be sad and depressed every single day. And if you want to know how I know, one, I'm not going to live forever physically, and neither are you. We have witnessed that. We have observed that. And that's a different topic within itself. Two, you have to grow. Things are going to happen in life. How do I know? Because the weather changes. People change. Things come up, things come down. It was hot one day, it's snowing the next. It could be raining the next. It could be a hurricane the next. So it's just like, don't worry. When you are elevating, you have to learn how to stop worrying. And if you want to know how to stop worrying, watch a video I probably have already made. I know for a fact I've made a video about not worrying, but if you want a new and updated version, let me know. Let me know what you think of this video. Like I said, make sure you guys are following me on all my social media platforms. For the month of February, my website will not be open. It will not be open. I have closed down my website, so I don't have any bookings or any consultations and any services. I do have a website. You could check it out, but if you need assistance, obviously you can follow me, like I said, on all my other social media platforms. But yeah, until I bring that back up, I would say click the link in my bio and book your service and your session. I'm a mental health specialist who's an naturopathic physician and your favorite rich auntie, for those of you who know. Okay, if not, find time, find community, find God, ancestors, universe. You guys know we don't force religion or spirituality, and we accept people's differences here. Okay, as well as finding people that you can trust and confide in. But if you've been doing the work, why would you not see the results? And you need to ask yourself that whenever you are unsure of yourself, and if this video resonates with you, put it in the comment section. Why would I not become successful if I did the work? Why would I not get the car if I worked the hours? Why would I not get the house if I built it with the shovel or bricks? Why would I not get that man if I know what type of woman I am? And why would you not get what you want? Why would you not get what you want? Why can't you get what you want in life? Why? Okay? I love you. Your love. Until next time. Bye.